Hello and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, to round 3 of the RRLeagues.com GTR3 Championship. We are at the Hungaroring, and all the drivers are rounding up their last 15 minutes of practice before this 45-minute race and 20-minute qualifying session. It's set to be a good race. Last race at the Austria circuit of the Red Bull Ring was a great spectacle to watch, with a lot of drivers, 33 drivers if I remember correctly, on the grid. And today will be no different at the Hungaroring, a world famous F1 circuit with a lot of tricky corners. Drivers will have to watch out for cut penalties or gaining advantage by leaving the track boundaries, so that's something to keep an eye out for. But before we dive into qualifying and see who gets pole position for this race, we first move on to an exclusive for RR League's live broadcasting, a driver interview, or even interview with a team manager of the Spanish racing teams, España Racing Motorsports and Spain Racing Motorsports. So without further ado, let's listen to that interview, and when we come back we dive into qualifying and see who gets on that front row. So, good evening, Adrian Rubio. You are in charge of the Spain Racing Motorsports team and España Racing Motorsports team. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello.
Mate. How are you?
I'm very well, and you?
Well, practicing. Like always.
Indeed. So these two teams are running 6 drivers here in the RR League's GTR3 League, but just before Slovakia, that didn't look like happening. So can you explain what happened there?
Yeah, well, it was a weird situation because in the beginning it were 2 teams. Catalonia Racing, Catalonia Total Model Sports, because we choose the McLaren with the Total, and it was in the team were Raya and I, and both are from Catalonia. And the other team is Akain and Wardstrom. It was Andalusia Racing Motorsports. Okay. So,
what happened?
Then, 1 hour before the practice start, the same day, Strom quit because he tell us that he couldn't race because it's too late in Spain and couldn't. Okay, so what do you do in this moment?
1 hour before the race.
1 hour before race. In Catalonia you are 2. In Andalusia there is only 1. Well, Bernades are also in Andalusia, but a third driver for another races. So we move Isakaen to Catalonia and change name because it's not from Catalonia. So we separate all in 2 teams. Spain Racing Motorsports with Raya and Jaén and I, and España for another future races.
Well, that was a very quick solution then, 1 hour before the race.
The point is Jaén was running with Ford GT, and Raya and I were running with the McLaren MP4. So talk with Simon, tell all the problems, all the situation, and put in the forum in the last time that all the drivers, all the teams, how is the organization?
The new organization.
Because Ryan and I changed the car, and we choose like Jaén Ford GT.
You're all 3 running the Ford GT now, yeah?
Yeah,
777.
But we changed the car 1 hour before.
All right. And did that impact your race in Slovakia, you think?
Yeah,
all the problems?
Yeah, I was faster. I don't know why, but I was faster.
Faster in the Ford GT?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because well, it's a better car for this circuit.
Okay.
So, but we were training 2 weeks for Slovakia with the MB4, and in the last moment, change the car, post in the forum, put Javi González and Bernades in Hispania, the second team, with Antonio Amez.
Yes.
Because I was running with Amez in the Heilclim Icons. So, in the Heilclim Icons,
okay.
Spain Racing Motorsport is formed by Amez and I, and in the GTR3 were Isaac Jaén, Raya, and I.
Yeah. Okay.
In the GT3, Jaén. Amez is in Hispania.
All right. So, well, a lot of changes there just before the race, and well, your team did change names now. So I take it that this is a team only running in RR leagues at the moment, or are you guys running under different names in other leagues or other championships as well?
At the moment, we are only here.
Okay.
Because we created the teams to compete in RR leagues.
So brand new teams.
But maybe in the future, it's so probably that we will run in other championships, like in Race Rome, or we are thinking to buy the R Factor 2.
Yes, which is 50% off at the moment.
Yeah, I know. But I am thinking that we will need more drivers.
Yeah. And are only Spanish drivers allowed in the team, you think, or are you open for?
No. Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
We put the name of Spain and Hispania because we are all Spanish.
Yeah.
And it's one of the first names we choose, but it will be awesome have drivers like Berger or Fillingham or whoever.
Yes, for sure. They are very fast.
No, because I mean, I don't care about the country.
Yeah. Okay.
Everyone is allowed to come here.
All right. Very nice. Yeah, Spain is well represented in the GTR3 league with 7 drivers. So we also have Xavier Eugeni, who is not in one of your teams. And your team, well, Spain Racing Motorsports is currently in 3rd in the team's championship after Austria, and Spain Motorsports Racing is a bit further down. Do you want to look forwards, or do you want to consolidate the 3rd position in the championship? What is the goal for the team?
Well, answering to your first question, Xavier Eugeni. Well, it will be nice if he will run with us.
Yeah.
Because he's a good driver, and I checked it in Red Bull Ring. I was fighting with him.
Okay.
It's not a special connection with him because he's another rival on the track.
Yes.
Like everyone. But you are always more happy if the winner or the point scorer it's a competitor. So we seem lack, but not the luck enough to end in a better position than me. And in the second, the 3rd place of the team's championship.
Yeah.
Well, we are fighting for that as a team with the training and the strategies. We are fighting for ending the top position that we could.
Yeah. So
fortunately, we have an awesome drivers like Isaac Jaén.
Yes.
He's representing the team, putting in a good place. It definitely wouldn't be the same without him. Maybe we will fighting for the 5th position, 6th.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, there's only 4 rounds to go with the Hungaroring tonight. So if you can get a good finish tonight, things are looking good for that 3rd position. Now, do you think that you are in a position to beat Virtual Insanity or Time is Money Racing at one of the races with your drivers? Or do you think you would need luck, especially?
Well, if I don't think so, I wouldn't race.
No, indeed.
We are running to do a good paper and give it our best.
Yeah.
But, telling everyone for the place in the podium.
Right.
Maybe at the end we will be there or not. It's true that they are spectacular drivers, but it's sure that we will fight for that.
Yeah. Well, training is everything. And you personally finished the two first round in the top 10, 7th in Slovakia and 10th in Austria. Do you have personal ambitions for the next 4 rounds? Do you want to get other top 10s, or do you want to get into the top 5, for example, or just race by race?
Always winning. I'm a dreamer.
Okay. All right. So looking forward to that.
Well, seriously. I'm surprised with myself because I'm racing with an Xbox One controller, and everyone here is racing with good equipment.
Okay.
Good wheels and good pedals, and the level here is amazing. So my first ambitions were finished in the first 15 to get points. But after I realized that I could be faster, and I started to train more, and the results are good.
Oh well, that's very nice, racing with a controller like that. There are not many people around that can do it like that. So
I'm always doing my best with the Xbox One.
Yeah. Are you planning to get a wheel maybe, second hand, or not really at the moment?
My desk is a little small, and I don't have so much money, so...
The problem of so many sim racers.
Maybe in the future I will think about it, but for the moment, with my level, I think I'm good with Xbox One.
Yeah. So Adrian, on to the race of tonight, the Hungaroring. How did the team prepare for this race? Anything in particular that you did to gain some tenths for this race?
Nothing in particular. Training in leaderboards, the server, trying other setups. Thanks to Metcalf and Simon and everyone who shares a setup with me.
Yeah.
And the other two, Raya and Isaac, I'm training too, a little bit less because Raya is working and Isaac has recent problems with the pedals on the wheel. But Hispania and Spain are training hard for this.
Very nice. You all know this circuit already? You have driven it before?
I know Slovakia, I know Red Bull Ring, I know Hungaroring, I know all.
Okay.
I spent too many hours. I watched videos for another games and I watched the map. Right. So I think I know. But circuit always have secrets that you don't know. So
yes, for sure. And how does the strategy look like for tonight, for the racing teams and for you personally as well?
Well, I can tell you specifically. Now, we have a strategy, but we are changing according to the pace of the race.
Yeah, of course.
So maybe someone has to do pit stop at one point of the race, and he will enter late, or maybe do it after. I can tell you nothing concrete because we adapt the strategy every time.
Yeah. Do you talk to each other during the race to ask information from the others regarding strategy, or do you all race your own race?
No, I only ask about setups and the week and things like that, but not a strategy because the pace of the race offers too many possibilities.
Yeah, different for all the drivers. So, well, with this race being, or this track being very difficult to pass on, maybe it would be an option to pit early and get some clean air at the back of the grid. Are you thinking about that, or again considering the pace of the race?
I'm thinking in an early pit stop to get some clean air.
Yeah.
But you have to have in mind that at the final laps, your tires will be off.
Yes. And also with 33 drivers, there's not really a lot of gaps to go in. All right.
I will see in the race. Stop early. Stop were 15 minutes left, or I will see.
All right. Well, it's getting time for qualifying now, so I want to thank you for this, for agreeing to this interview. Good luck to you, and good luck to your two racing teams, and let's hope you can keep that third spot in the championships with a good race here at Hungaroring. Thank you, Adrian.
Thank you, Miguel. Apologize for my bad English.
No problem. Have a good race. Bye-bye.
Thanks. See you, mate.
Alright, so we are back at the Hungaroring live after the interview with Adrian Rubio, who is just completing his outlap together with everyone else. At the moment we have 30 drivers on the grid. Let's hope one or two drivers more join in, and then we have another 30 plus driver grid here for this race. As already discussed in the interview, it's a tricky circuit, not easy to pass on. A lot less passing opportunities than at Red Bull Ring 2 weeks ago, so qualifying will be very, very important. And well, looking at the leaderboards, we have quite a bit of drivers from this league here that are well, on top of that leaderboard, or in the top 20. The best one is Peter Bagus, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, indeed, he is in third spot in the overall leaderboards with a 144.7. So let's see if any people make it into the 144s in race conditions here. Greg Metcalf I see as well, Reinhard Berger, Arnau Bernades and Isaac Jaén from the Spanish racing teams, Jas Forsberg, Adrian Rubio, who we just interviewed, Simon Fillingham, all within the top 20 of the best drivers here on this circuit with these cars. So it's set to be a very tight qualifying, and especially a very, very tight race. So as everyone completes, or well, Adrian Rubio already started his first banker lap, let's say. So in this 20-minute session, in my opinion, it's always nice to just go out for a good, decent lap, not push too hard, so you have a time on the table, and then you can take those other 15 minutes to really start pushing and exploring those boundaries as Adrian Rubio goes purple. But at the moment that doesn't say anything yet. Let's follow him around for his first lap and see where he ends up after this initial stage. Meanwhile, we can have a quick look at the circuit for today. For those who don't know this this nice F1 circuit, we have a quite short front stretch, hard braking, then for turn 1 the right-hander, then turn 2 quite tricky left-hander, as you need to stay to the left side to get through the very quick turn 3. Then turns 4 and 5 are very tricky as well to get a good exit and not get any cut penalties. So it's a track where a lot of cut penalties can happen, and yeah, that will be something to watch. Drivers getting drive-through penalties or warnings. So then very twisty section to end the lap, and well, fast left and right, long left and right-handers to finish off the lap. So that's the Hungaroring for you. We will for sure do a lap on board with some of the top drivers once we get racing or here in qualifying. So at the moment, Reinhard Berger is in first with a 144.6, so already beating that leaderboard time of Peter Bakus, which is quite impressive, I must say, in these conditions. A lot of drivers here on the track, as you can see on the track map, and a lot of traffic to deal with. So the Porsche is working quite well around this circuit, it seems. And then to round things up, let's have a quick look at the standings. So in the Drivers' Championship, we have Reinhard Berger leading from Robert Horvath, both winning a race, with some late drama for Reinhard Berger in Red Bull Ring. Then we have Simon Fillingham and Jim Britton, with Isaac Jaén trailing in 5th for Spain Racing Motorsports. In the Teams Championship, Virtual Insanity Racing is very firmly on top with Time is Money Racing and Spain Racing Motorsports trying to get close to them. So let's see if that works out today. As you all know, we still have 3 races to go after this one, and next race will be at the Nürburgring with a with a longer race, an endurance round, which will be a challenge for the drivers as they're used to 45-minute races at the moment. Then we head to Paul Ricard and end off the season at Suzuka. So with 6 minutes gone in this qualifying session, things are starting to heat up. So let's focus all our attention on the action right now, as we have Reinhard Berger with a purple first sector. Can he put a good lap in? At the moment it's Reinhard Berger from as Robert Horvath takes provisional pole position from Berger, 700ths of a second in front of him. So it's Horvath, Berger and Manojlovic for the top 3 racers here in this qualifying session. Alma Morales is in 21st at the moment. He's improving his times, so that's always a good sign. It will be nice to see where he ends up in this grid, as we have 31 drivers on the server right now. So it's going well, and the race will be very, very hectic, just like 2 weeks ago. So I hope I can catch all the action for you. So Robert Horvath with a 144.552, very competitive lap. Will someone be able to beat him, and who? Pick your bets in the chat window on the live stream, as I forgot to put the standings down. Alright, very well. Very sorry for that. Now it is gone, so Robert Horvath getting back out of the pits for another good lap. And we have also some penalties from last race. It's Marco Talevski and Gerard Raya from Spanish Racing Motorsports. They will not be able to participate in qualifying. They will have to start from the back. Nick Vijs and Sven Hekke got a drive-through penalty for an incident in the last race, and they need to take that before the 3rd lap of this race. So those are the penalties that are pending at the moment, and we will see how far up they get. Let's follow Arnau Bernades around in the Haribo roof that we focused on last race already. So we know some drivers already, which is very, very nice. Greg Metcalf here is in 12th at the moment, so usually he's a bit further up, but 12th at the moment. Of course, there's still half of this qualifying session that they need to do. Isaac Jaén, the best one of the Spanish drivers, as Bacchus goes 3rd with a almost 3/10 down on Horvath. Very, very nice lap. And let's see if we can follow one of these drivers who is starting their lap for an onboard quick lap of this circuit. No, at the moment, top 4 is not starting any new laps, but Robert Horvath is rounding the last turn, so let's go on board with him. So here we are on Main Straight with Robert Horvath trying to eke out a bit more time to Berger and Bacchus behind. Hard braking just before the 100-meter board for turn 1, turning in, and early on the power then. Bit of oversteer there for Robert Horvath. setting up for turn 2, heavy braking as well again, turning in, and then, as I said, keeping it a bit on the left to get a good run through turn 3. So on the left, and now flick it in over the curb, try not to go too wide, and then tricky braking here, turns 4 and 5, turning in, avoiding that bollard, not going too wide to avoid a cut track penalty as he goes purple in the first sector. Very nice lap for Robert Horvath at the moment. Track out over the curbs, now braking for the chicane, right left, very violent for the car, almost rolling it seems. Berger took pole at the moment, he's 3/10 up, so can Robert get a good lap in and retake provisional pole position from Reinhard Berger. Come up to the second sector. Oh, he's a bit up, so a bit slow. Second sector, can he regain that time? Oh, that's a bit wide. Let's see if he can make that work. The last 2 turns here, heavy braking and a long left-hander, murdering that right front tire. Then setting up all the way to the left. Here's the pit entrance at the right, setting up and turning in, long right-hander then. As Robert Horvath is in his home country, can he take pole position? He improves, but it's not fast enough. Not fast enough to take the pole. So it's Reinhard Berger at the moment. So the 2 championship leaders changing, swapping places. As Lee McCabe comes out of the pits as well. Let's see who we can follow around. Big man Simon Fillingham, the only Nissan GTR driver it seems, and it was already discussed. It's not working too well for him together, combined with lack of practice. He will have to work hard to get this car into the top 10 for sure. So let's see what he can do. The gaps are quite big. It's a very technical circuit, so people like like Adrian Rubio running with a controller, I guess there will be more drivers like him, will have a difficult time for sure to get this out, so to get around this circuit consistently without any mistakes, as Fillingham puts himself into P13. So we're coming up to money time here at the Hungaroring. Greg Metcalf, purple first sector and a green second sector, so he's improving, but he's in 11th, so I doubt he will get the pole, but can he get inside that top 10? That's always very important here with indeed 31 drivers about to start this race. Raya not participating in qualifying, and Antonio Amith for Hispania Racing Team is also not running at the moment, no laps yet. What does Greg Metcalf do? Puts himself in 8th position, 1.4 seconds down on Reinhard Berger. So also Fillingham keeps improving, and Elio Fernandez is in 27th. He hasn't set a time yet, so he's well, pressed for time a bit, I would say, to get a good lap in and get this race going. So if you have any remarks or questions or things that you would like me to focus on during this race, shout it out in the comment section below, and we will try to work on that for sure. No one really going faster than Reinhard Berger. Radek Pavelcek is having a good second sector, but yeah, also in 10th. So it's obvious that the gaps would be bigger on this track, as Red Bull Ring is well, easier to go quick on, even more difficult to master, of course. But this track has a character of its own, and yeah, it's not so easy to get a good lap in, so the gaps will eventually get bigger and bigger. Reinhard Berger, let's focus on him. Another purple first sector. Can he put even more space between him and Robert. Of course, that will not matter once they go to the grid. That gap will stay the same, but can he degrade? Oh, very, very wide by Reinhard, so that will not be a better lap. Will he keep going, or will we see him aborting this lap and starting over again, as we have 4 minutes to go, and qualifying ends when the timer reaches 0, so there's not too many laps that can be done still. Ulf Karlsson in 25th position at the moment. He's 8 seconds down on the pole lap, so there you can see everyone is able to join this league here. Everyone will have someone to run with, whether you are an alien at the top of the grid like Berger, Horvath and Bakus, or Pavelcek, who, well, I'm sorry, he was down a bit late earlier, but he's in 4th position now in his McLaren. So we have a roof, Mercedes, BMW and McLaren in the top 4, then another Mercedes and McLaren. So it's the usual guys up front. Jim Britton in the Corvette in 7th, and then some 4 GTs with Hein and Metcalf. So very, very close indeed. Nobody still going faster than Reinhard Berger, so he put in a blistering lap to take that pole. Shame that we missed it. But can Radek improve? Yeah, he did 2 green sectors, so can he improve on his 4th position? No, he stays 1 second, a bit more than 1 second down on Reinhard Berger. Adrian Rubio, who we just interviewed, is in 14th position. As I said, running with the gamepad on this track will not have been easy, and he will have to keep it on the track for 45 minutes, as Reinhard Berger went a bit faster again. Now 1.4 tenths up on his own time, so that is and again a good second sector. He will be going faster in this lap if he doesn't get held up by the car in front. He gets a good run through the last sector. Oh, he should be flashing his lights, although the car in front will probably also be on a faster lap. He will, when he crosses the line, he will still have time for one more lap as he comes into the pits. Unbelievable. He was on such a good lap, so he must have lost out there. Does he have time to do another lap as Jim Britton comes out of the pits? Radek Pavelcek again improving quite a lot. Again 6 tenths. Gaining 6 tenths in total. Will he be able to take 3rd position away from Peter Bakus to start on the 2nd row? He's rounding up the last turn, so we will find out very, very shortly. As he crosses the line, yeah, well, he goes a bit faster. Still almost a second down on pole position. Robert Horvath now, purple sector. Can the Hungarian take pole position at his home track? I know for a fact that he's been at this track several times, so he knows it inside out. As it goes a bit wide, wondering if he didn't get any penalty for that, but he keeps going. Second sector wasn't that good, so if he wants to find almost 4 tenths of a second in that last sector, he will have to do something very, very special, as we have 40 seconds to go. David Chardonnay put himself in front of Pavelcek, so let's see what Robert Horvath does here. Does he improve? Yes, he does, but only very, very, very slightly. Still a bit down on Reinhard Berger, unfortunately. Arnaud Bernades then in 12th position, having a green sector. But this will round up qualifying with Reinhard Berger taking pole position in front of Robert Horvath. This will be a titanic battle between the two driver championship leaders in 1st and 2nd position. Then we have Peter Bakus in 3rd and David Chardonnay in 4th position on the 2nd row. So that is the end of qualifying. Here are qualifying results, and we will jump right into the race. Let's hope for a good one. Not too many incidents on the first lap. That's always very, very important. So let's see what happens here on lap 1. For those that don't know yet, all the drivers will have to pit once during this race, but they are free to choose their strategy as they want, so they can pit on lap 1, as we saw this weekend in the DTM at the Norrisring, for example. They can also wait to pit until the very last lap if they wish to do so. It's very difficult to pass on this track, so if you're held up with a pack of cars in front of you, it might be beneficial to pit and try to get some clean air. But with 33 drivers on this circuit, it's longer than the Red Bull Ring, but not so long. So here we are, everybody getting ready for the race. We have Reinhard Berger on the right, and there we go, green lights. Let's put those standings and driver infos up. Reinhard Berger has a good start, but Peter Backus takes second place away from Robert Horvath. He's also on the outside, so Chardonnay going for the move on Reinhard Berger, but luckily for him, no incident there. Peter Backus is on the inside though for turn 2, so he will effectively take first position if he gets it stopped. Yes, he does. So Peter Backus up to first, and Reinhard Berger, Robert Horvath right behind him. Let's have a look at Jim Britton having a good start as well, up to P4. As there's a bit of tangling there behind. Let's have a look here. In 25th position, everybody still running. Probably a bit of incidents, a bit of tapping there that we didn't catch, but very good driving indeed. Here the gap at the front is not too big. Robert Horvath then in third position here. Let's see who gets into that rhythm on this track the first, because it's very, very important to do that here on this track, to get a good flow going here. Adrien Rubio trying to go around the outside here of his closest contender. That's Sebastian Nordqvist. He's on the inside now. Side by side still. Amazing racing here. Very, very tight pack as they get it slowed down. Now Bernades is in front of him. Adrien Rubio on the inside. Oh, he makes a spin. And he's on the outside for the last turn, so very difficult to take your eyes off this battle for 23rd position at the moment. So he must have dropped back quite a bit, it seems. Let's have a look here at Robert Horvath. He is very, very close behind Reinhard Berger, as Peter Backus eked out a bit of a gap, 1.3 seconds over these two guys. So can Peter Backus take that win? He was on for it. Yeah, was on for a good result in both Slovakia and Austria, but it wasn't meant to be. Robert having a look at the inside, showing his nose, and Jim Britton staying with them here through the chicane. Nemanja Manojlovic dropped back to 8th position in his Mercedes, but he's running strong as well, having a good qualifying session. He's right behind the first of the Spain Racing Motorsports drivers, Isaac Jaén. He was also the quickest of the Spanish drivers in the last race. Here he is, Isaac, hunting down Radek Pavlacek, sorry for pronouncing that wrongly. So it's a 4GT followed by a Mercedes, and hounding down a McLaren. Amazing sight here around the Hungaroring. Everybody keeping it clean, it seems. The gap to 26th is already 30 seconds. That's a Jerai Raya. He had a no qualifying penalty, so he is up to P26 now, as we have 30 drivers running this race at the moment. Indeed, sorry for showing those qualifying results so shortly, but the session jumped as they are 3 wide here going to turn 5, and Isaac Rayen keeping the position. Oh, very, very tricky indeed, but he's up to P5. So you have this pack here, P5, everybody behind Isaac Rayen, and there's a 5-second gap to Bacchus, Berger, Horvath and Britton, but Peter Bacchus slowly but surely eking out a gap in front. Nemanja Manojlovic, he is in 8th also in this battle, and Simon Fillingham putting himself already up to P9, so it's looking good for him as well. Great racing here at the Hungaroring. Let's stay with this battle, as the guys in front, the 4 guys in front of Isaac Rayen, are not very, very close. Well, that's a relative term, of course, half a second between Berger and Horvath. Who can make a move here in this pack, as Isaac Rayen tries to keep them all behind. There's no DRS here for these cars, but well, at least for Jas Forsberg, following that GTR, it will punch a very big hole in the air for him. Oh, Simon goes for the inside, and that's a collision. That's a bit of a late move for Simon Fillingham, and he puts it into the barrier. Very unfortunate. Can he get it going again? Yes, he can, with a safe rejoin. Yes, so unfortunate, and his victim got going a bit quicker, so let's hope there's not too much damage on the cars. Then back to the battle for P2. Bacchus lost a bit of time again. He's only 1.4 seconds in front now, so Reinhard Berger, Robert Horvath and Jim Britton are really keeping him honest. He's not running away with it, that's for sure. As already 7 minutes have passed here in this session. David Chardonnay now. He's right behind Isaac Rayen, as they both broke away from that big battle. Chardonnay having good results here in the last races. So where can he get past Isaac Rayen? He seems to be a bit quicker in the McLaren. He seems to be handling quite well here around this circuit. Also Jas Forsberg, he is right behind Greg Metcalf, who got up to P8 already. So it's a bit the same group of people from last race here in the top 10, but a very, very different race, as Simon Fillingham trying to get his car back up to that top 10, getting him to P15 now, just getting past Elio Fernandez. Oh, great racing there behind. Oh, a bit of a tap there by Elio Fernandez. He gets passed by Morten Roslev. Oh, the gap at the front now really coming down. Jim Britton, he's only 3 seconds off first place, so this battle is really, really heating up. Berger now almost under a second from Peter Bacchus, so gaining that advantage, getting into the groove. Kevin Mott is in 13th position in the older McLaren. So everybody also still running, all 30 drivers here on the grid, still running, which is always a good sign. 9/10 now at the front. Reinhard Berger really getting those consistent laps he is known for in around the Hungaroring. Now let's have a quick look where Adrian Rubio is at the moment. Oh, he's right behind Morten Roslev in Morten Roslev is Jim Britton's teammate in the Corvette. Isaac or Adrian, sorry, gets it slowed down, doesn't make any moves there, as they are right behind Simon Fillingham as well, who's trying to get past Nikolai Hartop in the Mercedes. So very tricky. Seems Britton is losing the connection to the top 3 a bit. They're a bit too quick for him at the moment, but top 3 is separated by 1.2 seconds, which is absolutely amazing after 10 minutes of racing already. So let's have a look. From the rear wing of Reinhard Berger and see where these guys gain their time. We're only half a second behind Peter Backus now, so let's have a look from the leader in this case, which will work even better, and see if Horvath makes any moves on Reinhard Berger. Seems Reinhard goes a bit defensive, but they all get it stopped. So amazing racing here, all very consistent. Fastest lap of 1:45 for Peter Backus, 1:45.9 to be exact. But Reinhard is going quite defensive at some points, doesn't use the whole track, it seems, as they all try not to get any cut warnings, of course. This is the closest battle on track, and it is for the lead, so again, yeah, it seems Reinhard Berger is turning in a bit later, so it always seems like Robert Horvath has a move going on there, but it's not the case, as Peter Backus throws his M6 around this beautiful track, to be honest, for GT3 cars. Not easy to pass on, so it could be that this battle stays like this until the end, but it's great to watch for sure. Oh, bit of a tap. Oh, can Reinhard recover? Let's have a look. Robert Horvath slowing down to give Reinhard the position. Of course, this gives Peter Backus a 4-5 second gap to his next contender. So just a little bit more patience required from Robert Horvath, but they both get going again. But this puts Jim Britton in second position. That's more than he had hoped for before the race, as his Corvette was not really up to the task, it seemed. But he is in second position, so consistent driving really can do the trick. So can they close the gap back down to Peter Backus? That is the question on everybody's mind. And as Jim Britton slides it around turn 2, can Reinhard take advantage? He's on the inside. Yes, he can. So Reinhard retakes second position. Will Robert Horvath go around the outside? Absolutely fantastic move by Robert Horvath to get back up to P3, then braking here into the right-hander, then coming up to the chicanes. So Jim Britton back to fourth, but this battle is far from over. They already lost 2 more seconds to Peter Backus, now 6.6 behind, but we will see how this battle plays out. Let's have a look at Marko Talevski. He's in 15th position, but also having a blast of a race here. for 15, battling with Roslev and Nikolai Hartup. He also had a no qualifying penalty, if I am not mistaken, so up to P15 is already quite well, very nicely done by Marko Talevski here. Oh, tank slapper for him. Oh, and he collects his rival there, but they get going again. Seems quite a bit of drivers are losing it under the brakes here. Let's have a quick look at Jim Britton. He's still in 4th as they are coming up to lapped traffic. They got the gap back down a bit to Peter Bacchus, but let's see if they can really challenge for that win again. Adrian Rubio, he is in 23rd position and battling with Elio Fernandez. On the inside now for the last turn, and he makes the move as Elio goes wide. Can Elio get back at him? He is in the slipstream for sure. He turns in and he gets the move done. So they are still side by side. Elio's still on the inside and he keeps the position. Very nice driving here by these two, especially if you saw how jerky that wheel movement was for Adrian Rubio, still keeping it on the track in P23. Robert Horvath then still in 3rd position following Reinhard Berger. What other action is there to focus on? Well, let me just pull up that track map for you, and you will see the battle. So we have Peter Bacchus crossing the finish line, then 2nd, 3rd and 4th quite close to each other. 5th and 6th, that's Jaén and Chardonnay. They are not too far back. And then the gaps are quite evenly spaced out between Metcalf, Forsberg, Manojlovic, Eugeni and McCabe for 11th. Then Pavelchak in 12th, Fillingham in 13th. And then there's a gaggle of cars here that we are looking at with Colin Barker in the middle. And that's Kevin Mott, Marko Talevski, Nikolai Hartup, Colin Barker, sorry, and Arnau Bernades. So very nice driving indeed as Berger takes the gap to Bacchus down to 5.7 seconds at the moment. Turn 1 is always very tricky. It seems to be very wide, but there's only one perfect line through it. So very easy to get ahead of yourself. Here is Nikolai Hartup. He is following Marko Talevski for P16 with his 4-car battle. Kevin Mott is chasing down Morten Roslev. They are just in front of that that big battle for P17. Henk-Jan Stenneker also joining the party behind Colin Barker. Can he get in front? Battle still very close between Berger and Horvath at the front. Jim Britton is chasing them down as well. So we still have the whole top 20 within 1 minute of the leader. So the fastest driver for the Spanish racing teams is Isaac Jaén. Javier Eugeni is not part of those teams, so it's Jaén taking the most points. The rest Bernades, Gonzalez, Rubio, they're a bit further down outside of the top 20, so they have their work cut out for them. They still have 26 minutes. My god, time flies past when you're having this much fun on the track, for sure. Drivers will be thinking they're only racing for 5 minutes, but that's far from the case. We are almost halfway through the race. I don't think anyone has pitted yet, at least I didn't spot it yet, but here we are having a look at Nemanja Manojlovic. Let's ride with Robert Horvath from his dash cam, or rather the cockpit cam. It's a bit more pleasant on the eyes as he follows Reinhard Berger around for a lap around the Hungaroring. Let's also enjoy the sound of this great car. As you can see, a very violent track on the suspension, as the guys use every inch of the track. They're coming up to lap the traffic. Not sure who it is, but it seems Elio Fernandez and Gerhard Raya are out of this race, unfortunately, so they quit. But the leaders get through traffic quite well. And of course there's the pit stops still to play out, so that's something to watch for, because some cars might be better on fuel than others, which is not to be underestimated. These guys can be pushing for 1/10 a lap to gain on Peter Backus, but then they might lose it all if they have a bad pit stop or if they need too much fuel. So these guys are doing more than real life drivers. They're calculating everything on the go at this point, so they are calculating their fuel. How much do I need? Which pace am I running? Am I ruining my tires? Do I need to slow down a bit? That's all part of sim racing. Greg Metcalf then, he's in P7 and he's trying to get past David Chardonnay, who goes very defensive already here on main straight, so he's a bit afraid of Greg Metcalf, it seems. Isaac Rayen up to P5 at the moment, so everybody, I think, getting ready for those first pit stops there in the top 15, let's say, where I mostly keep my eye on. Leading gap now down to 3.3 seconds, so Berger and Horvath really a bit faster than Backus, really gaining some time. Colin Barker still hunting down Nikolai Hartup. Oh, well, that was something special. Bit of a server glitch. Fortunately for Colin Barker, he didn't get that crash. So 148.8 is his best lap. Let's have a look at that for the leading car. So 145.9 for Peter Backus, 145.9 as well. 145.6 for Reinhard Berger, and a 145.4 for Robert Horvath. So quite close, but the two guys behind are a bit quicker, which is of course all you can hope for, as Lee McCabe in P11. And we have people coming into the pits now. Not sure who it was, but Lee McCabe now promoted up to P10. chasing down the Bentley Continental of Xavier Eugenie. And Colin Barker still. Here he comes also into the pits, right behind Nikolai Hartup, so exactly on the same lap. Let's quickly stay with this and see what the difference is between these two pit stops. As they drop down the order, I'll keep my eye on the top 5, see when they drop down for pits, but here they are stopping in their pit spot. Here is a track map again, so first, second and third, they're very close. Jim Britton closing down a bit, and Colin Barker getting away in front of Nikolai Hartup, so that's a proof the McLaren is quite good on fuel. Let's hope he didn't underfuel the car, but that's a position gained and quite a bit of a gap as well for Colin Barker. Very nice driving. Sebastian Nordqvist then, he is in P20, he is behind Colin Barker at the moment. Let's have a look here just quickly at the front, as Bacchus now only has half a second over Reinhard Berger, so he's either conserving his tires or he just doesn't have the pace to really get that gap, keep that gap stable. Marko Talevski, oh sorry, Marko Talevski is still in 15th, so I don't think he has pitted yet. He is hunting down still Morten Roslev for 15th position, and he's a minute and 12 seconds behind the leaders, so that is still very close. As Peter Bacchus again, he dropped back, he's sliding around, so he must have a problem with his tires or something, but he lost first position and second position to Berger and Horvath. Sorry, we just missed that, as they're getting past lap traffic, so we might have seen a small altercation between a lapped car and the leaders, but can Peter Bacchus pick up the pace again and stay close to these two once we come to their round of pit stops? Britton, Cheyenne, Chardonnay, Metcalf, Forsberg, Eugenie and McCabe make up the top 10. Fillingham just outside of that top 10, but they keep going, the leaders. They are not pitting yet. They want to get everybody pitted already, so they don't have any issues with back markers still that haven't pitted, but who can defend their position from them. I think that's their reasoning. But the top 3 absolutely very close, within 2 seconds of each other, which is amazing after well, almost half an hour of racing. Let's have a look here at that battle. Marko Talevski still in 15th position. 16th now it shows. Well, he's coming into the pits now, so he wants to get past that Corvette in front of him, Morten Roslev. He doesn't have the feeling he can get past on track, so he's trying it in the pits, and we saw that the McLaren is quite quick in the pits, at least compared to a Mercedes SLS AMG. Yeah, Peter Bacchus is struggling a bit with the balance of his car. He's sliding around quite a bit, so he has to calm down at the moment and just keep it steady to have a shot at the win at the end of the race, because it's far from over. As you can see, these guys are having to deal with loads of traffic. As we see Sebastian Nordqvist, oh, with a tap with Colin Barker. He's now on the inside there of turn 1, very dangerous. Let's hope everybody can see them. The leaders just got through cleanly, but very well done there for Sebastian. He stays there to avoid any big issues, and he waits for a gap. That's very good driving etiquette from him. I'm not sure if he was at fault in that incident, but he can get going now for sure. And Britton still only 9 seconds behind the leader, so he's still in for an option there. Sebastian very slow. He doesn't want to cost anyone time, but he can get going now, that's for sure. Still Peter Backus doesn't, he seems a bit less stable than the rest, but he can keep close. So these guys will need to be pitting quite quickly now, I would suppose. We're 30 minutes into this 45-minute race, so it will be time to get into that pit box and get your fuel and tires if you want. Very close there by Peter Backus. Let's have a look from his cockpit, see if he can get past Robert Horvath in his home race. Robert is still in for the win here. Can he get the slipstream going? Robert goes defensive, just leaves a bit of a gap on the outside for Peter Backus, but early on the power. As you can see, a lot of oversteer for Peter Backus. That's not always what you want, but it's a sprint race after all, so he's pushing all out 100% to go for that win. There's also a big battle going on with Lee McCabe, it seems. He's up to P6, so there are some guys that have pitted. Chardonnay, for example, he's in P9 now. Forsberg up to P4. So Jim Britton, he has pitted. He is, where is he? He's down in 7th now. So either he had a problem or he has pitted. I'm not very sure at the moment, but let's have a look how these top runners manage. Nikolai Hartup, I think that was. He's in P19, so they're already lapping the top 20. This is a game of cat and mouse, as Colin Barker is in front of them. So he's still in that battle with Nikolai Hartup. Will he leave room for Peter Backus? Yes, he will. As they come back over the timing line for another lap of the Hungaroring. So very close racing. Lee McCabe now here in 6th position. I wanted to have a look at Nikolai Hartup. Yes, here he is. Oh, he tried to get past Colin Barker, but just went a bit too deep into the corner and lost the position again. So they are just behind the leaders. They're having an absolute blast of a race, it seems, for P18 and 19, and they have Kevin Mott behind them, also very close. Everybody has someone to race with, whether you are an alien or just dabbing into sim racing. Join rrleagues.com to get your racing fix. There are several championships, not only with the GT3 cars, so yeah, join the website and get racing with all of these fine young drivers. Oh, hard over that curb for Nikolai Hartup. And onto the grass. Marko Talevski, he came back out in P21 at the moment. So he's actually 2 seconds behind these guys here. And Radek Pavlacek in 15th position, battling with Morten Roslev. That is, yes indeed. And they are about to lap, I guess that's Elio Fernandez, if I remember or if I recognize the car. Very nice battle here. Let's ride on board. Oh, sorry. In that McLaren 650S, as the lead gap is has stabilized a bit. So Britton now back up to P5 after his pit stop. So it's only the top 3 that needs to pit. Oh, Radek going for the move into the chicane, sorry, and he completes the passing maneuver. Now Kevin Morton get back past here. Very tricky section here. So you get up to speed through the left-hander, then hard braking again. And there's a pretty long straight here behind, so you have to get a good exit. Seems Morton is a bit slower at the moment, so he's not able to stay close. And Greg Metcalf is behind Isaac Gayen, so Isaac in P9 going defensive. Let's see what happens here. He basically hands the position to Greg Metcalf, thinking he can do the over-under, but Greg keeps it clean and makes the pass for P8. So our top 10 at the moment: Berger, Horvath, Bacchus, they didn't pit yet. Then we have Forsberg, who also didn't pit. I think he was a bit further down earlier. Then Jim Britton is in 5th position, Fillingham in 6th. Then Manojlovic, Metcalf, Gayen and Chardonnay to round up the top 10. We still have 28 drivers running in this race, so everybody keeping it on the track quite well, although it's not always very easy. They still keep going, the leaders. When will they pit? That's the big question, and who will gain? Because, well, Bacchus is now 4.7 seconds behind the leader, so he's running a bit slowly. That's not the best line through to turn 3, but well, he's still going. But a 6 seconds now, 6 seconds deficit is easily made up in the pits. So we have to keep an eye out for these guys. Jim Britton is 48 seconds behind, so can he do something with that clean air that he has, or will he have to settle for 3rd position? Robert Horvath still hunting down Reinhard Berger and Arnau Bernades. Oh, absolute chaos here for the Haribo Porsche. He's battling with Nikolai Hartup now as well. They both got past Colin Barker, and Nikolai gets P17, sorry, in front of Arnau Bernades. David Chardonnay, sorry, Isaac Gayen here in P9. So a heated battle for sure. So yeah, it's very, very close for all of these positions. So I'm sure these drivers are all having fun. Berger now dropping back, so he is in the pits. So this is the moment we've been waiting for. Robert Horvath, he is now in 1st position, leading the race. Peter Bacchus in 2nd, as Reinhard Berger gets going again. So nothing wrong with that stop. He will come out 10-15 seconds in front of Jim Britton, so that's not too bad. I am guessing that Robert Horvath will pit at the end of this lap. That seems to be a logical decision for him. He doesn't have to wait now, as Peter Bacchus is 6.7 seconds behind him. So in my opinion, it's a race between Robert and Berger, unless Peter Bacchus can pull something very, very special out of his bag of tricks. Lee McCabe here in 12th position. Also close racing for him with Radek Pavlacek. But let's have a quick look as Horvath is almost completing his lap here. So indeed an 18-second gap between Berger and Britton. So that's quite nice. And Fillingham making it up to P5. Not sure if he still has to pit because he was a lot further down earlier. So I think he still will have to pit in his Nissan GTR. But still, he is running quite well. He has some clean air. As Robert Horvath comes into the pits, we will stay with him or switch to Reinhard Berger and see if he can get past. So Reinhard was in the lead, only about a second and a half. Peter Backus, he is also in the pits, so it will be very nice to see what happens here. Gets into his pit spot, as we have Reinhard Berger already rounding the last turn. Can Peter Backus get going? Reinhard is already through. Robert Horvath gets going as well, and Peter Backus is right behind him, so Robert lost out significantly over Reinhard Berger, who seems to have it in the bag now. Oh, small tap there on the 4GT by Robert Horvath. That's of course not what you want to do, but that put a gap between him and Peter Backus, so the gap for the lead is now 10 seconds. That's unfortunately not what we had hoped for, but hey, Isaac Hayen is still in that top 10 and trying to hunt down Radek Pavlacek to get up to P9. As I said, now Fillingham, he has pitted as well. He's down to P8. So it's Berger from Horvath, Backus, Britton, Manojlovic, Metcalf, Chardonnay, Fillingham, Pavlacek and Lee McCabe getting past Isaac Hayen here in turn 1. So Lee McCabe now into the top 10, but can he keep the position? He is on the inside, so he will keep that P10 as Isaac Hayen drops down a little bit. Adrian Rubio, who we interviewed, is now up to P15, so everybody's still running quite well, as we have 4 minutes on the clock, so not a long time to go. Xavier Eugeni in P13 being passed by a Bentley Continental GT3, but more importantly is being hounded by Morten Roslev. See here, Pavlacek is hunting down Fillingham. Can he get past? That is the big question. The gap at the front came down a bit, so maybe Berger took a bit, didn't take enough fuel, although I very much doubt that. As you can see, Gonzalez is 1 lap down, but we still have 22 drivers, let's say, on the lead lap, if I'm not mistaken. So well, that doesn't really make sense. It will be 15 drivers more or less, as we have 2.5 minutes to go. So probably Reinhard Berger will win this race and yeah, well, consolidate his first position in the Drivers' Championship over Robert Horvath. So both championship leaders would be taking first and second position. But Peter Backus will make a big jump for Time is Money Racing Team, and that will put them quite a bit closer in the Teams Championship to Virtual Insanity. We will, you can check out those standings when they are updated after the race. Greg Metcalf as well, having some close racing. He is right behind Nemanja Manojlovic. Will this battle go down to the wire as the lead gap comes down to 3.2 seconds? This is a nail biter for Reinhard Berger. Is he just managing that gap, or does he have a problem with his pace or his car? We will find out very, very soon. But 3 seconds in 1.5 minutes, that's a very big mountain to climb for Robert Horvath. down to 2.2 seconds. So let's oh, and that just gave Greg Metcalf 5th position. Just managing that traffic is a very important part here of this league when you are having 30 plus drivers on the grid. So P5 for Greg Metcalf, great results for him if he can keep that keep his car out of the wall. And here we are in the cockpit cam with Robert Horvath, 30 seconds to go, and he's absolutely throwing it around this circuit, hunting down Reinhard Berger and visibly closing down the gap. Will they cross the line for another lap or not? Probably Reinhard Berger is slowing down for that, I don't know. 10 seconds will probably not be enough to cross the line, I would think, but here we are crossing the finish line as we finish this race, and Reinhard Berger will take the win over Robert Horvath, and then Peter Backus will finish in 3rd position. So a very hard-fought race for Reinhard Berger, Robert Horvath and Peter Backus. Jim Britton will finish in 4th position in his Chevrolet. Greg Metcalf rounding out, now coming up to the last turn, he will finish in 5th position without any problems, followed by Nemanja Manojlovic and David Chardonnay, very close indeed, with a last dash to the line. Can he get out in front? No, he can't. So P7 for David Chardonnay. Then Simon Fillingham, he's also still being hounded by Radek Pavlacek, but I think Simon will use the Nissan Power to get over the line first. Yes, indeed. So P8 for Simon Fillingham, Radek Pavlacek in P9, then Lee McCabe P10, Xavier Eugeni in P11, Morten Roslev being chased by Adrian Rubio for P12, and 13. Oh, Adrian very wide, but keeps the position. Isaac Hayenden in P14, Chas Forsberg 15th position. He will be finishing, it seems. Then Norman Bruce, he's just behind. Arnau Bernades only 2 seconds behind as well. Then Colin Barker. Oh, it seems he had a bit of a problem, or he did already finish the race. For P18, Kevin Mott in 19th position. Henk-Jan Stenneker in 20th position, being absolutely pushed around by Nikolai Hartub. But they already finished the race, of course. Still nice sight to see Marko Talevski in 22nd as we are getting ready for the final results here of this race. Javi Gonzalez here running around in P23, but this race here at the Hungaroring is over. Very good racing, very clean racing as well for the most part, so that's very important feature of this league. The first lap is always monitored by the stewards, and any incidents can be reported as from I think 6 or 8 hours after the race, to allow for some cooling down and not getting your submissions in the heat of the battle. So everybody getting into the pits. And finishing this race off. So I want to already thank you for joining. I hope you enjoyed the interview at the start of the broadcast. If you would like to do the same, please contact Simon Fillingham or myself to arrange for that. It's not sure yet. We will have live commentary for the next races, but that will be announced by Simon when it is fixed. So thank you everybody for joining. And let's just wait for the final results to roll over the screen, and then we will sign off here for this race. Everybody getting into the pits to end the race. And here are the final results. So Berger from Horvath and Peter Backus, Jim Britton, Greg Metcalf, Manojlovic, David Chardonnau, Simon Fillingham, Paula Cech and Lee McCabe for the top 10. Then Xavier Eugeni, Roslev, Rubio Jaén, Forsberg, Bruce, Bernades, Parker, Mott and Stenneker in the top 20. Hartup in 21st, Marko Talevski 22nd, Gonzalez, Nordqvist and Michal Jura up to P25. Then Olma Morales, Ulf Carlsen, Graham Fillingham, Yararaya, Elio Fernandez and Ahmed. Those two last drivers didn't make it to the end of the race. So thanks for joining. Make sure to check the website for everything, and we will see you at the next race in 2 weeks time for the Nürburgring with a broadcast with probably without live commentary. So see you later, and thanks for joining.